I want to call the board meeting of the Delaware County Regional Wastewater District, February 1st, 2023 to order. Penny, will you take roll call, please?
Ray,
Present.
Josh,
Present.
Joe,
Present.
Bill,
Present.
Brenda.
Present.
Okay, first item up is the minutes of the previous meeting, January 4th.
I'll make a motion that we approve
Sorry, yeah.
the minutes of January 4th.
I'll second that.
I have a first and a second. Hang on a second. Gotta look. You all right? I thought maybe you said, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good deal. Treasurer's report, Pete's not here. Claims for December 30th, 2022 through January 27, 2023, totaling $286,755.20. Account balances as of January 27, 2023. Cash operating balance, $420,000. Improvement fund balance, $2,199,728.18. The Delville TIF transfer of $9,411 for January 2023. I'd entertain a motion for approval.
Making a motion to approve the financial report.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. New business. Jason?
Towards the beginning of the year with the new budget, we wanted to take the chance to and hopefully look at some more fuel efficient trucks with the way gas prices are going. We're still going to have a couple of the big trucks that the guys will use and myself would use out in during the normal work schedule and normal days and for purposes they serve. But I think we're at the point where we could get rid of one of our larger work trucks that are
I'll jump in there.
consumes a little bit more fuel and downsize to something a little more fuel efficient and still meets our needs. I went out and was able to secure quotes from for a Toyota pickup truck and a Ford pickup truck. We went to both Chevy and GMC to try to find stuff that met the criteria we were looking for, with it being a extended or quad cab and four-wheel drive. And the only things that we found around local that met those requirements for either of those were stuff that were just going to be useless to bring to the board. They were going to be Nallies, the bigger packages. So nothing met the fleet style.
Right.
So the two we got is a Toyota Tacoma after trade-in. It's going to be $17,491, and we also got a price on a Ford Ranger for $14,829.18 after trade-in. The truck that we're trading in is a 17 GMC 2500 that is getting ready to turn 100,000 miles. We purchased it in 16 for just right around $29,000. We're still getting $23,500 for trade-in on the Toyota, and that my recommendation is to go with the Toyota just because of the additionals it already has. It already has a finished bed liner, which is big for us. It is a quad cab and not extended cab, and it makes it easier when we're carrying some of the more expensive camera stuff and locate equipment that we don't want to put in the back of the trucks. So if the board's in favor of it, I would like to see that we get an approval on the 2023 Toyota Tacoma.
Make a motion to give the director the authority to purchase the Toyota for $17,491.
I'll second that. That's my choice too.
I've got a first and second. Is there any discussion amongst the board? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approved.
All right,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. The next one I have, I need a pump repair in our number 2 lift station in Rorton. It's a pretty costly repair, but it is our second largest lift station. It's like a 30 horsepower pump. To repair it, it's going to be a new impeller, a new wear plate. It's $11,345.20 to replace that whole pump. It's still not Wouldn't be my recommendation, but for total replacement, it's gonna be $36,9676, so $36,000. My recommendation is we go ahead with the repair. Everything else inside the pump, motor, windings, and everything look great. And we just go ahead and replace the impeller and wear plate.
How old is that pump?
It's probably every bit of 10 years old, but
It still should have some life left in the rest of it, though.
yeah, it's in for just to now we need to wear plate and the impeller. It's still got some life, and that was their recommendation too.
Make a motion that we give the director authority to spend $11,345.20 for the repair of the pump.
I second.
Got a first and a second. Is there any discussion amongst the board? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion approved.
Christmas is over now, you get more.
We're almost
Hey,
there.
hey, it's February. We've got through 1 month, and here he goes.
For the Westbrook project disbursements request, we have an SRF Atlas change order that we need to get approval for Rob. We were able to finish up the work at 500. We had talked about it in previous board meetings for the concrete sealing and patching and all the pipe work to get that 500 lift station up to snuff, and everything came along well. When they were inside that lift station, due to the nature of those just being extremely dirty, the contractor got in there, and after pressure washing and cleaning everything, he found that there was an epoxy coating already on parts of the concrete that he didn't feel comfortable putting their new coating and concrete on. So Rob's got a change order that we need to get approved that covered the additionals on that. There's still money, contingency money inside the Westbrook project that covers that, so we're still kosher there. Then and that was for $4,335.50. Then we have an Atlas pay app, and this is going to be the final pay app, and that covers the completed work at 500 as well, and this change order, and that's for $47,575.
So it's a total of $51,910.50.
Yeah, $47,575 for that it's going to the SRF for approval. Then Rob will submit the change order, which is going to allow them to pay that $47,575.
Change order amount.
Yeah, so we really just need approval
For the
Take-
47?
for the $47,575, then to approve the change order, which already includes that amount.
I got a question. How much was their total contract and how many change orders have they had to have for this?
This
Just curious
is
of where it went.
Change order number
10.
10. But
Remember, we did a lot with the contingency money.
Yeah.
We
last-
They're just
yeah,
curious
Yeah.
where we actually ended
how many we
up.
put out there?
Change orders 5 through 10 were all 10 in contingency money.
That's
Okay.
So we had five from the actual project.
Yeah, and that was probably, most of that was probably working within that, all that bridge work at the 600 lift station and trying to get that done to fit the
Yeah.
construction that was being done.
Change order 1, we had
So 5 through 10 was the only thing really outside their, I mean, the first 1 through 4 were in their scope, outside of their scope, and then this was with the extra money
It
then.
was the extra money that we
Okay.
put in projects, did the lift station
I
cleanups.
was curious,
Yeah.
when we get to bids originally and where we end up.
and even in those first 5, we had actually done some extra work on the
Mm-hmm.
put that fog rod in. Really,
There was some
there's
contingency.
about 3.5 of the 10 associated with the original contract work, just different, like, everything else was extra.
It was extra. Okay.
But the original contract was bid at around 3.2 million. About at 3.4.
Not bad.
Oh, yeah. And Jason and I are gonna get this. Alright.
So, I didn't get a motion, did I? That it's not 51,910.50, it's the actual 47,575 that includes the Atlas change order for 4,335.50.
We probably need a motion for the change order and approval, then we need a motion for the payout.
I'd accept a motion for the change order.
I'll make a motion to accept the Atlas change order of $4,335 and
A second Joe's motion.
Got a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Change order approved. Now I look for a motion on the SRF Atlas payout on the app
I'll make a motion.
for the $47,575.
Yes.
I've got a first. I've got a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion approved. Jason, I hate to keep rolling with you, but you're up on collections update too, sir. Unless you'd like a break, I'll go in a different direction.
Good.
Okay.
Collections update for this month. When I sent out my board packet, it was a little bit higher than it currently was, but as of today, we were sitting at $1,100.03 over the entire collection area. Last month, we were at $3,610.36, so kind of what we expected during the holidays. It's a little bit higher, than we're kind of getting that reeled back in. Also, for an update, we got the new meter that the board approved installed in Tanglewood area. We actually will start reading it on a full month, starting today, and we'll go from there. And this is something that I know the committee has talked about that we possibly use with MSD going forward. And so we'll have probably a full month of reading on it, and we can kind of see where we land on that. But that's been installed and completed. The capacity certifications for the project that we're teaming up over in Salem Township has came through and has went back to their engineers. We got that handled. Has been able to work with the Watson's expansion over off 500 and has approved everything that they've asked for, and had some back and forth with them, and they got his changes and what we expected out of them completed, and that's getting ready to, they got the construction already on the building done, so we're gonna have the two small sanitary lines coming down 500, going under 332, then hitting our station, hitting our system there right across from the 500 lift station there, and we'll be getting them online. Additional to that, I know Penny had sent out the completed December budget, kind of showing where the year ended up at. We didn't have any questions or concerns that came back to us, but one of the things I wanted to hit on was that as a whole, there were some line items that were over, that they were to be expected just based on what the work that the board had kind of approved, engineering services, financial, what do I want to say?
Analysis.
The
Counting.
accounting services, yes, Jennifer and stuff. But
Can you note that we're not over?
yeah, attorney fees were.
Curious.
But with that being said, those are definitely, those reasons that are over is we're working on different projects and everything, and if the board so chose, once we got to the point, if we wanted to bond those out, we could always ask for reimbursement on those. But as a whole, everything panned out really nice, and we actually were $178,000 under budget for the year.
Did you hear that? Pay attention to the last number.
Yes, because I kept my fees under it. I'm.
Not by
trust-
$178,000.
I help.
You're good. You're
I help.
good.
we truly
But I
appreciate
hope.
that too.
So it's a positive going into the next year, and we'll see what we can do.
Good.
Jason, I got a question. On that meter at Tanglewood, will you guys be giving the reading to MSD?
Our contract doesn't state, right now it's a flat fee based on the
Flat fee.
houses in that area. But the board decided that we put it in there for our own
Reading.
readings. But if we did move forward and we could, I think we've had conversation both ways for the ease of it. It's nice for the flat, but this is gonna make it pretty easy to read as well, being able to have access to it if we decide to add that to a contract if we enter into a long-term deal with them.
Your own personal opinion, would we be better on a flat rate or on a meter rate?
I haven't had a month yet. I mean, I would suggest that I got a feeling we're gonna be under, but, with what they agreed to in the original contract, not putting a meter in place, but time will tell, unless we got people dumping on us, which I don't suspect we do. I think we'll be under what we're originally paying. I think that's all I have.
Okay. The amazing Struble, your turn.
All right, on the memorandum of understanding that we prepared, start with the Westell project. Gaston has signed off on their part of the memorandum. A few of us are going to go to Westell on February 9th along with Commonwealth to present to their board. They've got one or two new board members. I know Brittany's new too, I think.
Yeah.
I think so too. I kind of get the impression maybe some of their board members are not fully informed about the project that is getting ready to take place. So we want to make sure that they understand and what's coming and why we're wanting this memorandum. So we are going to go there on the 9th and hopefully get that memorandum executed. So that one should be taken care of next week. As for the Oakville project, I'll kind of get this started off, and then Bill, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about that, or Jason. I did prepare the memorandum for Oakville, and I think exactly why Bill wanted this one prepared is the, I guess, concern we had came to fruition on Oakville. It does not look like that project is gonna take place in the fashion that we thought it was going to, working in down the Henry County and going south. We may have to rework and look at coming north for the Oakville residents. If we work a PER, but I'll let Bill or Jason dive into that a little bit deeper. So that memorandum will not be signed by Mount Summit, Summit Springs Regional Sewer District, Springport, any of those entities.
At this time, I think with the board, I mean, she's told you is correct, that has come to a stop. It doesn't mean the project's to a stop, but there was always a plan B or an alternative if something did happen, and that we'll have those numbers finished up by the end of the week, Rob? Once those numbers come out, it will be released to the whole board via email, and we'll discuss this further. We still have time. The money is still there. The project is not dead. We just have to go in a different route right now. So now, I know, hey, things have been running pretty good here. We got a hiccup. There's a bump in the road. Tires a little wobbly, but it hasn't come off the car yet.
Well,
So,
Rob, you maybe even made it seem like it may be more beneficial to go to the north, possibly with the.
I think it would be, what I've seen so far, and ask my people to check on it. That tells me it'll be less,
so let's,
not counting the.
Right.
I guess what I'm asking the board, let's don't speculate, guess, let's wait until we get the information, let's look at that, and then we'll come back together at the next board meeting and have a conversation.
That's why I don't have
And
a
decide
signed-
direction in that. I mean, if that's done, it'll take action by this board to take it in another direction. So right now, I need to get all that information gathered to you guys, so you guys have all that information so you can make a decision. And we should have that by the end of the week, and then we'll convene on that, or we'll bring that back up at next board meeting.
That is why I don't have a signed memorandum for the Oakville project as of right now for everybody. Significant amount of time, I would say this month was really focused on Muncie Sanitary District. We will have committee reports, so I don't know that I'll focus too much on that and maybe let the committee talk a little bit about that, but working with Ray, Joe, and Bill, and sitting down with Muncie and having several meetings. We've got another one scheduled, so we've put quite a bit of time in working with Jennifer, talking with Amy, sitting down with John Barlow. Jason has done a phenomenal job leading these meetings. That's been a big chunk of my time, actually, is just focusing on that this month. I don't have a ton of other stuff. Jason, you actually did hand me this, and I don't know that we chatted about this. Do I need to do anything with this Kretz?
No, I think we can mention it to the board. There was probably 13 original households, 2 of them that we didn't know that were not connected to the system, that should have been. We started looking at this Oakville expansion, I'm sorry, Overlook Drive expansion to get these houses, due to the terrain, that were not originally connected to the sanitary sewer, connected to Mound Road over there. We had one of the customers in the very back lot that we approached about wanting to give them a chance to connect. They had requested not to connect, and after speaking with Rob and Danielle, they met the requirements per the Indiana code not to connect.
Oh, this goes back to,
Yes.
okay,
Overlook
okay.
Newsom,
The
the
Kretz, I
property on the
didn't
back.
recognize the Kretz name. Okay,
So, you want me to keep going?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so, yes.
You want me to keep my fees low? You want me to
Yeah.
keep mine?
So, to get off of Overlook Drive, it comes to a dead end, and you look out the way that these properties are, there's 3 adjacent properties, and they all look like appear to be landlocked. The very last property that we requested, the only one that has a house on it, was the one that didn't want to connect, that was 340 foot away. Indiana code requires they could be exempt if they're over 300 foot away from the property line. He is. He owns a property that is closer to the main and has talked about possible expansion into, and wanting to build on it to sell off a house and a lot back on Overlook Drive. Once he decided he wasn't going to connect, this wasn't brought to our attention until after the meetings with the residents over there. And we had figured out to get 2 more additional houses over off of a mound connected to the system, because we're going to save this revenue from the ARP money and not have to roll back 300 plus foot, and we could get these other 2 customers further to the north connected that weren't on Overlook Drive. He's now, after the public meeting that we had with those residents, has requested that I bring to the board. He still does not want to connect. But he wants to know what's the option of getting a lateral ran if he were to grant an easement to that property that he's going to sooner or later build and sell off. If we would do that lateral connection to the main off of that utility easement that's already existing there. It would just be like us running to a different property line. It'd just be a really long stretch. So I think from initially, with talking with Bill and Rob and Danielle, the cost to actually run that lateral is going to be kind of minuscule in the grand scheme with the construction and everything that's going to already be out there. There would be additional cost of buying a pump pit, electrical that would need to be there, that for a house that's not even there yet. So I think after talking with Bill and Rob and Danielle, I think the recommendation would be to tell this customer that, because we would get the possibility of helping out something that's going to come to us anyways, that telling them that, see what the price per foot is, and running that just the lateral to the property line, and not being responsible or not purchasing a pump or anything at the time, and leaving that after that. Does that sound right?
Yeah, you said it the right way. The gist of it was, if you wanted to hook all the way up to the back one and then the other one at the same time, while we had the funds, yes. To say no to the one, and then to take taxpayer money and put it in for him sometime, maybe never ever, No, this is taxpayer money that is used from ARP, and it is to make an immediate relief, and that's what it was done. It's COVID relief money, it's ARP money. It is not to be set aside for years down the road. So that would be a bad way to spend the money, in my opinion. I'm only one vote on this board. If we have to go to a vote on it, I just don't, I can't see it, because it's outside of the scope of what the money was given to us for.
Well, and we, again, like, makes total sense to stub off the main
Yes.
and go to the property.
Yes, and then if he builds a house on there, then it's his responsibility to purchase the pit and everything. This was a one-time deal going through, and we held the 2 meetings. Everybody knew what we were doing.
We put a valve on the end of the line and
Right.
on the hook for everything.
And for the sake of Danielle, the way I'm looking at it too is she doesn't have to get involved. He already owns that. He owns that easement that was given to him when he bought the house. He owns that property. He's gonna have to work out something, record something, because we're not gonna be responsible for a lateral anyways.
Right.
So he'll be able to work it out. We'll just stub it out and have the capabilities of another monthly sewer bill down the road.
Exactly.
That we're not gonna pick up the price of the pump or anything. It's gonna be
What do you need from the board at this time, Jason?
if you guys are all kosher with that, I'll go back to him and tell him that that's the consensus here, and if he has any other concerns, just to bring it to a monthly board meeting or write us and we'll get it out to you guys. But that's kind of where we were at. That's
I don't
fine.
think it's something we need to vote
I
on.
don't really think
I mean,
so.
is there anybody else on the board that has would like to express a different opinion or think that this should go in a different direction at this time?
Anything that we're doing, I mean, there's no code that says we didn't have to do this, so I don't
Right.
think there's anything that has to be voted on.
Vote necessary.
Anybody else of the board have anything? Okay. I would like to go back to MSD if we could. We jumped over and we went to the other. And I want to go back to the negotiation meeting in the
And I'm gonna
committee.
explain the mediation process too. on the next one.
Okay. Well, why don't you, no, hang on. You hang on to that. I want to get Joe and Ray, the board, and if you would express what you guys, each of you have felt in this. I mean, we've been at this for a little while, and I think the other board members need to be brought up to speed. There has been some deal, and I'll let you tell your guys' opinion.
I think we've gone back and forth with questions and all, and I don't think we fully got the questions answered that we had hoped to get answered. I'm not even sure if that meeting next week that you guys are planning, since Stephen Moran, this would be the third one that he was not able to attend. I mean, not that he can, but I think he's an important person to be at the table if you guys were going to go, or we were going to go into another meeting, but he had previous plans for it. So I understand that part, but I think their board president needs to be at these meetings too. So that would be mine on that next meeting, my opinion of it. But
Well, before
I
we
just
let
don't
that
think
get-
it's moving forward really at
Gotcha.
all.
I agree. I think John Barlow, I think, is very sincere of moving forward on getting an agreement. I do feel that Steve Brand needs to be at the meeting. I think he could nod in the right direction. I feel like there was a communication breakdown between Jennifer and Dean. Dean is on their side, Dean is their Jennifer Wilson to us. I feel like there was a little bit of a communication breakdown from my perspective between Jennifer and Dean. But I feel like Marlo is eager to make something happen.
Jason, you did a very good job of representing, being
And I think
spokesperson
Jason
for
did
us.
an
And
outstanding
Bill, I think
job.
you guys really,
Explaining.
but you had all your facts
Well,
there and all.
and for the board, I mean, it's not, I mean, it's, that we've been going through it. We did our discussions first, and we went in as a team, and one person handled the discussion instead of getting complicated and getting out, so we could keep up with the details, and it worked. I mean, these last 2 meetings have worked better than any of the ones prior to, the way we're structuring them and the way we're doing them. I agree with you. I mean, if you and Ray are agreed, I mean, from this comment here, I would then instruct the attorney to reach out to Josh and let's find out when we can get a date when Steve and Brand can come to the table. We set it out for 2 weeks. They've got some work to do. We're not in a hurry. We ain't up against the clock. I mean, we know there is a clock ticking, but we're not up against the wall yet. So if, with the committee's deal and your concerns expressed here today, why don't, Danielle, you reach out to Josh. Let's find out the next available date Stephen Brand is available. Have him go back and let's kick back and then we'll go from there. Is that
how you-
better?
Is that how you feel, though?
It is because we're close. I think we're making headway. I think we're making ground. There's still some things there we got to do. Don't misunderstand my comments. We're getting there. This is not easy. I mean, we're taking everything into consideration because a slight move can make a huge difference to a taxpayer 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. So we are watching every eye and looking at every T and making sure that we're communicating, bouncing things off of Danielle, bouncing things off of Amy. I think the committee's done a great job, but I do think we're getting close. But I do agree with you. I think Stephen needs to be at the table now because we are getting closer. And if this is to go, I agree with your comment, Ray. He could make this. We're getting close. He can make this to come back where we could get something done.
The only thing that kind of scares me is, I think Josh will have more of Steve Brand's year. That, I think Josh is in cement.
And he is, and I'll agree with your comment. But what I was saying to Dylan, and I want to reiterate, you two, as you've all said something. Jason's done a heck of a job. You really have. I mean, we put him up, and we've done. He's a superintendent, but he's actually led the meeting great. And I think he's got Josh now, because Josh and him were going back and forth in our last one, and he held his own very well, and they were there. He's not an attorney. I mean, it's tough, and we asked for layman stuff. It's like, okay, explain that in English for me, but did a very good job. And Josh is going to defend this side, and Jason's going to defend our side. I respect it. That's what we want.
And then we have Danielle
battling.
defending
Yeah,
this.
and even though she's back here taking notes, she got in there too. But we did. It worked well. I think both sides are truly working towards a settlement. I honestly believe that, and I think that it's in sight. We just got to keep doing what we're doing. But I agree with your comments here today. We did set that, and Stephen was out after we got out of the meeting, found that out. This is our next day, so yeah, with comments, let's do that, and we'll go that way, and then we'll reset it for the first time we could get him back in. And we'll do the same thing if you're still in Florida. We'll set up the Zoom, so we've got everything, and everybody on the committee that's been at it will still be there.
And Steve might be available on the date that we have already
I
established.
guess I could ask that, would that be okay if he, oh, no, because he was in another country, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's in Europe.
So I don't think
Yeah.
that'd be, and
Yeah,
he
he's
had
in
those
Europe.
plans already.
Yeah, he's
so it's
he'll
nothing
be
to
6
do with
hours
that.
difference when he's over there. So yeah.
It was Europe.
He's
I
not
thought.
trying to get out of the
Yeah,
meeting.
no.
He just,
No,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember where he was at, but it was Europe.
Yeah, he's going to
yeah,
Europe.
No, I'll send an email and ask about that.
You want to go into
So,
mediation?
just in case, some people may be familiar with mediation, and I want to give a brief explanation on that. So the question was posed to us, and I don't know that there's any action we have to take just at this point, but I want to put it out there so that the board knows that we may have to take action in the near future. There are two different processes that we use pretty much in almost all cases. Mediation and arbitration. Arbitration is a binding process where if you go to arbitration, the decision of the arbitrator is binding. What the arbitrator decides, you are stuck with. They have asked us if we get to a close enough point, are we willing to go to mediation? It's a non-binding process. It's a process where we would go in, say we're asking for a certain percentage of costs to be attributed to Delaware County for their treatment costs. They're saying we want this amount of costs to be attributed to you, and we're trying to etch towards where's that common ground. That mediator looks at the formulas, looks at why Jennifer believes this is our number, why Dean believes this is their number, and what makes sense, and we try to work towards that common ground. If the mediator is like, look, I just really feel like, it should be all the way over here where MSD is and where Dean feels, and we say, look, we put our faith in Jennifer and we just can't get down with that. We have the opportunity to get up and leave the meeting and say, I'm sorry, we couldn't come to an agreement. We just can't enter a long-term treatment contract with you guys. So we can leave, there's nothing binding. So they've asked if we would be willing to go to a mediation with them if we get close enough. When we get to that point, my recommendation is always yes. That's just what we do in my profession. A lot of counties are mandatory mediation for our cases now anyway, and I'm a mediator, so that's part of the time that's what I do anyway. So the mediation process is usually always a beneficial process. In litigation, over 90% of cases settle in mediation. So the effectiveness is there's a pretty good chance we may be able to work something out. Another beneficial thing that could happen with mediation is the fact that they ended up going to mediation with Liberty, and I believe that's where they ended up getting their agreement with Liberty, was through the mediation process as well. So those are just things to keep in mind if we get to that real close point and we need to make that decision. I just wanted to make sure everyone understood exactly what that meant. So so just keep that in mind.
We get to that point, I'll bring it back to the board, let you guys know what's going on, get a vote from you. Also, we get close, just so you've got some idea of what I'm thinking, when the committee gets somewhere in the neighborhood and gets really close, I've talked to Danielle, I want to call an executive session where it can be set down, we can go through it detail by detail, because we're going to make a decision here that we're going to live with for 20 years. I want the financials in here, we'll even have the other side in here so we can, where we're at, so we can both explain our side and why and where we're at, what the possibility could be. Like I said, that'll be an informational session. We'll go out of that with time to think. I do not want to go to a direct meeting and a vote. I want everybody to have time to think. So I'm wanting it about a week before we have a board meeting, and then you have time to ask questions, bounce stuff off the attorneys, other stuff, and before we come in for a final vote. I'm not saying that we're there yet. I'm just giving you an idea of what the picture. If we get close, we still got a few steps to go through. Okay? All right. With that said, we'll move on. If you don't mind, Ashley, I'm going to jump over you and make you. I know have to get in the car. So, Rob, if you'd like to go so I can get you out of here so you can get to your next appointment, sir.
I think our report was in your packet, so I'll just touch on a few things that haven't been discussed. We're wrapping up design on that Overlook Drive project. Jason touched on some of the nuances that we're navigating through. I would like to get the board's approval to allow Bill to sign the IDEM construction permit application. Not sure if you need a vote, but I figured I would at least ask for that so we can keep that process rolling.
What project's that on?
Overlook.
I don't think we've had that.
Say that one more time. Then
I wasn't sure if I needed board approval, so I'm asking for Bill to be able to sign my IDEM construction permit application because we're getting close to the point where we want to submit.
I make a motion to give Bill authority to sign the IDM for Overlook.
Second.
We got a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion approved.
So probably within the next week, I'll be reaching out to Jason to schedule a meeting to do a review of the drawings, specs, make sure we get everything captured that he wants, and then we'll get that off to IDEM. Earlier today, I gave Danielle and Jason both a heads up. We've got some temporary construction easements that we are in the process of assembling for the same project, just to give us right of entry to be able to get on their properties to install grinder pumps and demo the septic tanks. So our surveyors are assembling all the legal descriptions and putting together the figures, and then we'll transmit those to Danielle, and she'll actually put together the actual easement docs. These will be temporary easements, and they will expire 1 year from the date of construction completion, because that's the time at which the infrastructure then gets reverted back to the property owners for maintenance. So we'll have it during construction and the 12 months after, but then those easements go away. Westdale, we kind of touched on that earlier. There's a meeting with the school board next week. Commonwealth will be there with the district to talk about the project. I don't have any reason to believe that they won't go ahead and make motion to approve the memorandum of understanding, but we'll definitely be there to answer any questions. That PER is still slated to be completed and presented to this board prior to your March meeting. So if you recall, we're going to be going after SRF funding on that Westdale sewer project. We do have some county commitment, but we've also had discussions with the Indiana Finance Authority. They've expressed an interest in participating in the project. So we're going to go ahead and submit for funding and see where that lands. Funding deadline's March 31st. And in support of that application, we're going to have a public meeting. Probably take 5 minutes, but I'll get with Jason and Penny to make sure on the agenda for your March meeting that we carve out 5 or 10 minutes to do the public meeting for that funding application.
We can put that at the beginning of the agenda, can't we?
We'll take care of the advertising. It's standard language. It's the same thing we did on the Westbrook project, but we'll work with the local paper and get that taken care of. For you on the board, what I would like to do is week, 10 days prior to that March meeting, I'll send Jason a link to the draft report that he can then distribute to the board, and hopefully that'll give you guys enough time to take a look at it prior to the public meeting. Then we can answer any questions and then make any adjustments that need to be made prior to formal submittal at the end of March. So that's kind of the roadmap for that project. Doesn't really impact you folks, but their water project, we're under contract with the school direct on that, but it's going to run a similar path, and I plan on having the same discussion with that board next week when we meet with them as well. Other than that, we got about $4,000 left on that Westbrook project. I'll get with Jason. We'll figure out how to maximize it. It's contingency / loan forgiveness money, so we might as well use it. We talked about getting some air release valves replaced on that 600 force main, maybe replace a pump, but we'll figure out how to spend it, and then we'll report back to the board once we have a plan.
That would have been,
Other than that, I don't have any other questions or any other comments if you guys got questions for me.
So we're still
the Westbrook's the
pretty
only
much
one we're closing
on
out.
target for the Norton project.
Yes, I expect to get our IDM permit. I'm glad you said that. I expect to get our IDM permit anytime. We had received comments, we responded accordingly, never got anything else back, so my expectation is it's probably in the public notice phase, and then we'll get our permit.
I think these are the
And Danielle, you can help me with this. Does the board want, because we're getting ready to basically go advertise Roriton, does the board want to open bids during a regular meeting? Because I believe when we did the Westbrook project, I believe the way the law states is it just needs to be open and publicly read, but it doesn't have to be an official meeting. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Isn't that the way we did the Atlas?
That's the way I'm pretty sure that's how we did it.
I think
It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be this board's official meeting, but it just has to be open to the public.
Right. I think that's what we did on
It was
the
only
Atlas.
Us there.
That's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you guys. I figured I'd ask if you have a preference one way or the other, so we can come up with some dates.
But however, I mean, what President set it up, just as long as it's by your guys' approval, it meets all the things that's legal and public and out and documented, I'm good. However you want to set it up, I'm good.
All right.
Whether it's one of these meetings or we do a special meeting, either way.
I'll work with Jason on some dates.
There you go.
Because it's got to be advertised twice, 7 days apart, open 7 minimum. We'll probably advertise it for a month. But I'll get with Jason. We'll come up with some dates, and then I don't know if if anybody on the board wants to be in attendance when we do set the bid opening. We'll make sure we get it on your calendar. Danielle, your office has been involved with a bunch of these projects with us. Do you need me to email you the draft contract documents to review?
That's fine, if you want to.
So that's where Robertson
That
stands.
it?
That's all I have.
Yeah, hang on a second. Joe's got a couple questions. I think those were the forms that you had, the state revolving
Here
fund.
goes.
Those are part of, just to close up Westbrook.
I thought it was, I told her, I wanted
The
to
cert-
clarify, so I
yeah,
didn't
the
want to make sure I
cert-
was telling her right.
Just wanted
The
to. put a blank in our-
certifications.
in
So
our-
there's two certifications, and this may predate Joe being on the board, but as a part of that last SRF project that we did in Westbrook, we had to assemble an asset management plan. It's just one of their hoops you got to jump through. It's another report. The cost was included in the project, and that's all well and good, but when you go to close out a project that's got an asset management plan tied to it, you've got to certify that it's done. So that's what those forms are. Jason has a copy of the asset management plan, and I'm going to get
When-
Jennifer a copy of it.
When
but
was that asset management plan done?
Would have
Been
been,
going on since they started in
Yeah.
18.
Well, and the reason I'm asked is because some come, and I'm not 100% sure, but in this, like, every 18 months now, this is, I mean, for any of these grants, federal grants, that's going to be a requirement? Did I not read that the right way?
well, if you didn't have one, you would have to have one in place. So
But it
we're-
has to be updated, it has to be updated to qualify,
You would want to be proactive as a district and probably revisit it every couple of years, just because of your infrastructure, right? Because what these things include is basically an asset inventory of everything you got.
right?
And it talks about useful life remaining, and it talks about condition at the time. So 2, 3, 4 years, it's just like any other living, working utility document, you're going to want to revisit it. You guys didn't have one prior to the Westbrook project, and SRF now requires them if you're going to use their money. Now that you have one, you'll update it every time you do a project that has SRF money. If you add something new, then you'll update your assets accordingly, but the cost is minimal because it's already there in
So it
place.
just keeps rolling on then.
Yes.
It's also.
Thank you.
I know I hit it, and I knew I read something, it's like, okay, wait a minute
Well,
here.
and
What do
we're
I got to
lucky
do?
because this project fell under the old guidance in that up until this year, you had until you requested your last draw from SRF to complete it. Now they want you to do it on the front end.
Gotcha.
Now they want it done when you submit your PERs and you ask for money. They want the asset management
see what you
plans
got in
done
inventory.
then,
Gotcha.
yes.
Okay,
Plus it helps, we got to report it another year to what Jennifer's doing right now, to Gateway.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
okay. The board have any questions for Commonwealth? Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Be careful.
Yep.
It's Ashley, your turn.
If you guys have any questions about the report, be sure to let me know. We sent out another email, so the monthly emails are going over quite well. People seem to be opening them, clicking on the different articles. We are posting some of the recent news in those emails. So if you're not signed up to be on those email lists, if you're on the board and you're not seeing those emails, let me know so that we can get you on that email list. We posted on social media. We've been posting on Google. We made some updates to the new website. We corrected some of the board members, added the new board member, added how you guys were appointed. So there's been a few updates on that. We also did another video with Jason where he explained the Westbrook project, and so that was added to YouTube, and that's also on the website. I encourage you all to take a look at the website. If you're seeing any bugs or any issues, things that just aren't flowing correctly, let me know. And then tomorrow I'm actually meeting with Davey, and we're going to go over how to update the website, and so he's going to have all that access as well. So if there are any questions, let me know.
And I think got Ray. Get a picture for you,
Well, we
Joe?
got Joe.
I'm gonna
you have-
send you one.
Okay, I think we just need to get a picture of Joshua for the board meetings, then we'll.
I'm not
think
doing
we
it
should be
today.
good.
I'll send you
Awesome.
one.
come
and
on.
Rafi's
Updated.
here.
Oh, you look pretty all day.
Should've
Whatever.
got you yesterday. We should've got
Whatever.
you yesterday at the meeting when you all good flustered. Anybody got anything else for Ashley this time? Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, seeing that we're at the bottom, that goes up, I would ask the board, does anybody at the board have any comments or concerns? Seeing we don't have anybody in public, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion for adjournment.
I got a first, do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.
Danielle?